Meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
This isn't going to end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
In a world where sometimes people judge you before they give you a chance.
In just 90 minutes, Justin Baldoni managed to shift the momentum in his favor, securing key legal victories that left Blake Lively and her team reeling. Though this wasn't the final verdict, it was a crucial step in determining how the rest of this high-profile battle would unfold. And judging by how things were progressing, the future wasn't looking too bright for Blake. For those who haven't been keeping up, here's a quick recap. Blake Lively slapped Justin Baldoni with a shocking $250 million lawsuit, accusing him of severe misconduct. But rather than backing down, Justin countered with an even heftier $400 million lawsuit of his own, claiming that Blake was guilty of extortion and defamation. After months of heated back and forth, the case finally landed in court, setting the stage for one of the most dramatic legal battles Hollywood has seen in years. From the very first moments of the hearing, Justin's lawyer, Brian Fredman, came in swinging. His aggressive approach sent Blake's legal team into complete disarray, and honestly, who could blame them? This was the same man who had openly vowed to drag Blake through the legal system until there was nothing left of her case. Judging by his performance in court, he had no intention of backing down. Blake's attorneys were so shaken that they tried to have him silenced with a gag order, hoping to stop him from making further explosive statements in public. But the judge immediately shut that down, pointing out that Blake's own team had been more than vocal in the media. Allowing them to continue while restricting Fredman would have been completely unfair, and the judge wasn't about to play favorites. That decision marked Justin's first major win of the day, but things were about to get even worse for Blake's side. Frustrated, her attorneys kept arguing that Fredman's constant media appearances were making it impossible for them to respond effectively. Every time they prepared a rebuttal, he was already releasing another bombshell, leaving them scrambling to keep up. But once again, the judge wasn't convinced. He dismissed their complaints outright, reaffirming Fredman's right to discuss the case publicly, a devastating blow to Blake's case. However, the real chaos erupted when her legal team realized that Justin wasn't just fighting this battle in the courtroom. He was taking it online. They were furious when they discovered that he had launched a website solely dedicated to the case, where he planned to upload evidence, including video footage, legal documents, and messages to support his claims. Blake's lawyers called it a highly improper move that could unfairly influence public opinion before the trial even began. But Fredman wasn't about to let them rewrite the rules in their favor. He fired back, reminding the court that Blake was the one who had taken her claims to the media first. She had gone straight to the New York Times, giving Justin only 12 hours to respond before they published their scathing report. His reputation had been irreparably damaged before he even had a chance to defend himself. If she was allowed to control the narrative through the press, why shouldn't he be allowed to do the same? That argument landed hard, and once again, the judge ruled in Justin's favor. But then came the most crushing blow of the day. In a desperate attempt to maintain some control, Blake's lawyers requested that she be allowed to choose who would question her during her deposition, clearly trying to avoid a face-off with Fredman himself. But the judge had no interest in playing along. Without hesitation, he ruled that she had no right to handpick her own interrogator. She would have to answer questions from whoever the court assigned, whether she liked it or not. By the time the hearing concluded, it was clear that Justin's side had gained significant ground. Every attempt by Blake's legal team to rein in Fredman had failed. Instead of slowing him down, they had only given him more opportunities to strengthen his case. The battle was far from over, but if this was any indication, Blake was in for a long, uphill fight. The judge's ruling sent a wave of panic through Blake's legal team, and their frustration was impossible to hide. They knew exactly what was coming. Fredman was relentless, and they had no way to stop him. Blake had every reason to be afraid, because when it came time for her deposition, she wouldn't be able to dodge a single question. For those unfamiliar with legal proceedings, a deposition is sworn testimony, meaning every word Blake says could be used against her in court. There are no carefully crafted PR statements, no lawyer-approved deflections, just direct, under-oath questioning. And judging by how her team was scrambling to keep her from facing Fredman, it was obvious that She wasn't ready, not even close. That raises a critical question. If Blake Lively is so confident in her accusations, why is she so desperate to avoid a deposition? If she were telling the truth, wouldn't she want to go on record and let the facts speak for themselves? Instead, she and her lawyers were throwing out excuse after excuse, doing everything in their power to keep Fredman away from her. They knew that once she was in that room, there would be no more strategic leaks, no more distractions, just the cold, hard facts. But the judge wasn't fooled. He denied their request, delivering yet another crushing blow to Blake's case. By the time the hearing ended, the outcome was obvious. Justin and his team had won every single argument. One ruling after another had gone in their favor, while Blake's legal team suffered loss after loss. And just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, the judge confirmed that both lawsuits, Blake's $250 million claim and Justin's $400 million countersuit, were being merged into a single that meant there wouldn't be a drawn-out legal tug-of-war. Instead, there would be one massive, explosive courtroom showdown. And the trial? It was officially scheduled for March 2026, unless, of course, they reach settlement before then. But let's be real, Blake is in serious trouble. If this case actually makes it to trial, she's already lost several key battles before it even begins. If this pattern continues, she could find herself in a courtroom where every piece of evidence Justin has gathered is laid bare for the world to see. And make no mistake, this isn't just about the legal fight. It's also about the court of public opinion. Right now, her once pristine reputation is starting to crack. Fans are divided. Some remain loyal, but others are beginning to question her motives. Meanwhile, Justin is carefully assembling every shred of evidence, making sure he has everything he needs to turn the tables on her. The fact that he launched a website dedicated to the case speaks volumes. He isn't just fighting back in court, he's making sure the world sees his side of the story. It's a bold strategy, but it might just work. Because if there's one thing that's clear from these early proceedings, it's that Justin Baldoni isn't backing down. And at this point, it looks like Blake Lively is running out of moves. Brilliant strategy. Blake used the media to take him down, and now Justin is using the internet to fight back. At this point, Blake needs to ask herself a tough question. Is it worth continuing this battle, or should she apologize and cut her losses before she completely destroys herself? Because if she loses, it won't just be a tarnished reputation she walks away with. She'll be on the hook for $400 million. And that brings us to Ryan Reynolds. Where does he stand in all of this? If Blake loses, it won't just cost her, it'll cost them both, and not just in reputation. That $400 million figure is more than their combined net worth. If this case doesn't go her way, it could leave them financially devastated. Maybe it's time for Blake to swallow her pride, find a way to make peace and back out before she gets completely obliterated in court. Because right now, it's looking more and more like Justin Baldoni is on the verge of winning, both in the courtroom and in the public eye. If Blake loses this case, the consequences will be catastrophic. A $400 million payout isn't just a financial setback. It's the kind of blow that could end her career entirely. That kind of money doesn't just hurt, it ruins. Even with Ryan Reynolds' fortune, a loss of this magnitude would leave a lasting scar, not just on their finances, but on their entire public image. Hollywood may forgive scandals, but it doesn't forget financial disasters. A judgment this massive could leave her with no viable way back into the industry. But this isn't just about money. If she loses, she's losing more than just a massive sum. She's losing credibility, influence, and any real chance of being taken seriously in Hollywood ever again. Hollywood thrives on drama, but it also respects power. And right now, power is shifting toward Justin. He's bringing in proof-winning legal battles and controlling the narrative while Blake is struggling to keep up. If she continues on this path, she risks becoming a cautionary tale, an A-lister who played the game too aggressively and lost everything, and the ripple effects wouldn't just hit her career. Reputation is everything in Hollywood, and once it's gone, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. Studios will hesitate to cast her, brands will back away. Directors and producers, even those who once admired her, will think twice before attaching her to a project. The fear, unnecessary controversy. And while there's always a chance for a redemption arc, this isn't just a PR scandal she can laugh off in an interview years down the road. If she's found guilty of defamation and extortion, it won't just be a career setback, it'll be a permanent stain. Meanwhile, Justin is gaining momentum with every LA.